So tell me a little bit about Amazon and where it's at right now. More
Yeah,
importantly, can a little guy enter Amazon right now?
I would say yes. I would
Is
say
it?
yes.
I imagine your first serious endeavor was in your 20s or something like that, right? Like,
Well, I don't want to implicate myself here. Are you asking about legal or illegal endeavors?
well, depends. Whatever is more fun.
I was doing like no shit, like 30 grand a day as a
Jesus,
19-year-old. I'm like, what? What did you do? And they're devastating.
that's right. They slapped you hard, huh?
Oh, they slapped the shit out of me. So if you're telling me that you want to sell a silicone spatula with $10,000 to $15,000, you're going to come up against the wall, right? So
Brian, welcome to the podcast. It's good to have you on it finally. It's been many years of us knowing each other, and a lot of things have changed in your life and everything like that. And you're one of the top guys in the Amazon digital ad space. However, before we talk about all that, all our viewers really want to hear success stories, and for me, you're one of the guys that I always looked up to, and you've done really well for yourself and all that. So, you know, tell us a little bit about your upbringing, where you were brought up and everything, and how you got to be a really good entrepreneur, man.
I think, like the rest of us, trauma and anxiety. Yeah, I thank you, by the way, Mario. It's great to be here, and I love what you're doing with the podcast. It's great, but for me, I think like a lot of my friends that are successful entrepreneurs, a lot of it just comes from a chip on your shoulder. Growing up in a broken household with a legitimate crackhead mom,
Wow.
that'll do that for you,
Jeez.
and for me, that was not the best, but it surely put me through things to be proud of the man I am today. And that anxiety, that trauma, it really does propel people. And I hate when you have to hear the whole. I'm 43 years old now. You don't want to hear the whole thing, right? It's trauma that is healed, but I think
Yep.
certainly for me, a chip on the shoulder propelled me forward.
Yeah, that's totally true. A lot of times that's what we kind of need, and walk us through your first venture. What was your first venture? Was it like a lemonade stand, or what was it?
That is actually true. I've told you this story,
I
Omar.
knew it.
You knew it. You did know it. Yeah, I think 7 years old, I was franchising lemonade stands to my friends in New Jersey. So my grandpa would take us around in his pickup truck. We'd go find these giant refrigerator boxes and washing machine boxes, and I'd turn them into little lemonade stands.
Wow.
I did that one summer when I think I was 6, and then by the time I was 7, I was leasing those out. We saved them, built more, was leasing them out to friends, and asking for 50% of their proceeds. So I think that summer when I was 7, I made close to $3,000.
Sheesh. That's crazy.
Bought my mom a car. It was yeah. So
Incredible.
lifelong entrepreneur. You know what I like to say, Mario? Technically unemployable.
100%. Same here.
Hmm.
100%. I always said I would fire myself in any company. Literally.
Yeah,
you know and
yeah.
it's something that, on one hand it's super good, on the other hand it's not good, right? So it's very it's a big deal in the entrepreneurial world, I suppose, but again, the few times I've kind of tried working for other people, it just didn't work, right? But yeah, totally. So from that lemonade stand, like walk us through, like, I imagine your first serious endeavor was in your 20s or something like that, right? Like what did that look like?
Well, I don't want to implicate myself here. Are you asking about legal or illegal endeavors?
Well, depends. Whatever is more fun.
Well, and I only say that to joke, because I was not old enough to launch a legal business. But my first business that was legal was an AutoGlass business, and
Okay.
so I've always found it to be a very profitable and advantageous place to be in the middle, almost a broker of all things.
Hmm.
I never had to become an expert at one thing. I knew that if I could create the leads and then find someone to deliver on those leads, being in the middle was always a very profitable place. So
Right.
for me, I found that we could build an AutoGlass company living in Arizona in the U.S. Here. It's all desert landscape. Cracked windshields happen hundreds and hundreds of times a
Yep.
day.
That's right.
And so I actually built a company. The name was too damn clever. The name was called Rockstar Autoglass. Because Mario, what happens when a rock hits your windshield?
It turns
It
into a
makes a
star. Yep.
star. It
That's
makes a
right.
star. So where everyone thought I was like, rock star, it
That's
really was
awesome.
just a clever name.
Right.
And it worked out really well. So what I would do is I would put friends of mine at first, and then hiring for other salespeople. I would establish them in little corners of car washes, gas stations, and oil change shops. And as
Amazing.
cars would come through, they would either one repair their windshield for $60,
Yep.
or set up the windshield repair at their home, or a replacement at their home. And I would broker then, once we closed the deal, I would broker that out to other auto glass shops.
Amazing.
I was
Amazing.
uh, I was 19 or 20 years old. This is before it would go through the insurance. This is before the insurance got hip to it. But I was doing like no shit, like 30 grand a day
Jesus.
as a 19-year-old.
Incredible.
It
That's
was
crazy.
wild,
Crazy.
wild. Yeah,
Wow. So after, how long did you do that for?
7 years
Okay. So this is like takes you into the 2008, 9 kind of thing,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
what was the next venture after that?
Dude, I got so good. So one thing I realized is that I hated working at car washes. A couple of things happened. I got very good at Spanish, and I lost a few of my employees to drug overdoses.
Wow.
And for me, I was looking for street hustlers at the time. Not professional salespeople that could move an enterprise level deal. I was looking for people that knew how to hustle a deal at a car wash, right? And
Right.
so it became like herding cats. I think at my height, I had 17 employees, and I was so depressed. I was spending as much as I was on gas as I was making in profit, because the insurance companies used to pay $1,000 a windshield.
Right.
Right. By the time I got done, they were paying $100 a windshield. So I saw the market decline incredibly. It was really just a window in time that was
Right.
very, very profitable.
Right.
And so I said, there's got to be a better way. So what I did is I was like, what's this Google thing about? Let me see if I can work this Google angle. And I remember I followed a few internet marketers at the time, Yannick Silver being one
Okay.
of them.
Sure.
If you're listening and you know who Yannick Silver is out there, that means you're old.
That's
But
right.
he was one of the old G's,
And
and
Perry Marshall?
Perry Marshall. Yeah, Perry Marshall's my homie. He was out there. Believe it or not, Russell Brunson was out there at the
Sure.
time.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people. So they taught me a little technique called link wheeling. If you know SEO and you've been around for a long time, I was able to build a link wheel around websites. So what I did is I realized you could build a link wheel, which is effectively just linking one link to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, back to the top link. And I realized you could do that with any website. It didn't have to be your site. So I went out to Backpage and Craigslist, and like I had like Puppy's Place, and I would list all. It had nothing to do with Autoglass, but I would list all of my links and link wheel them. And so I'll send you a screenshot at some point. It's just hilarious. But the first 3 pages of the keyword Phoenix Autoglass was me. Every single link. So I had
Incredible.
10 links on every page. So it was effectively like 30 links. It was hilarious. I was like, oh my God, I don't have to stand at car washes in the middle of Phoenix heat, which was 122 degrees. Oh, this is brilliant. So I started working behind a laptop, working in my office. I was taking 2 calls at a time. No shit, literally 2 phones at a time. And then what, effectively, the this is great. The other autoglass companies, the bigger conglomerates, um, band together and tried to threaten me with a lawsuit for monopolization of Google.
Wow.
Once they realized that that was, not worth pursuing, is more of a if you can't beat them, join them type of a scenario. And so they asked me, they said, "Hey, will you do this for us?" And so I quoted them an astronomically high price, or at least I thought it was at the time. And they said, "No problem. Here's the check." And it led to my first agency, my first brand representation firm,
Right.
and that was 2008 to 2013. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Incredible. And so you grew that agency into how big did it get and what were you guys specializing in?
yeah. The beauty of it is a whopping 4 people, and all we did was SEO. And then I had a tool back then called SE Nuke X, and SE Nuke X would automate your link wheel building,
Sheesh.
right?
Amazing. Yeah.
So it is. You plug in a website, it builds a link wheel, and I was ranking all of my clients everywhere. I think there was 4 of us, and I had close to 300 clients,
Incredible.
right?
Yeah.
And it was easy. I mean, I didn't have a customer service issue. Everyone was very fat and happy because you might know this if you're in the services industry. If you do a great job, your clients don't want to talk to you,
That's right.
right? They just want you to do what you're hired for.
Yep.
And so I had once a month automated billing reports and automated ranking reports, and everyone was fat and happy. Then I remember the day, October 8th, 2013, Google came out with one of their updates. And here's the really insidious part about their updates, right? They named them very cute little names,
Yep.
and they're devastating.
That's right. They slapped you hard, huh?
Oh, they slapped the shit out of me. So, so it was called Penguin 2.1. Penguin 2.1 came out on October 8th, I believe, of 2013. And overnight, 95% of my clientele at that time,
Gone.
uh, not just gone. I mean, you couldn't Google their name. They were disavowed from Google.
Yeah.
And so at 3 a.m., I'm getting frantic text messages. I'm getting people emailing me. It was people calling me. It was a nightmare because people were literally building businesses on the
Right.
backbone of my link wheeling strategy.
Right.
I was newly engaged at the time. My fiance worked for me, one of my whopping 4 employees, and I had to let everybody go. And instead of actually selling that business, I just shut it down. I didn't see a way forward without going bankrupt. And yeah, that was one of the hardest days of my life when they came out with Penguin.
That's
Oh,
right.
what a nice little animal that penguin is.
Yeah, no, 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 no shit. So yeah, that really it speaks to the testament of don't ever rely on one traffic source, right? So it's definitely something that I always tell our clients and everything, like try to diversify your lead generation business in a big way, right? So that was 2013. That's about the time that I got into selling on Amazon. So is that when you started Canopy?
As a byproduct of being a business owner and also a byproduct of not in 2013 not having a lot of readily available training. You got to remember YouTube wasn't even close to what it is. There weren't a lot of quote unquote gurus out there offering you, hey, we'll train, we'll coach you, you pay us and we'll coach you. There was none of that really in
Yep.
2013. And so I had a lot of people just independently reaching out to me saying, hey, can you teach me, can you train me, you seem successful, what are you doing? And so I took on a few students. I think I was charging $10,000 to $15,000 a month just to help them in their businesses.
Hmm.
One of my students, his name was Spencer. What's up, Spencer? If you're watching, uh, he was 21 at the time, and he said, "Hey, listen, Brian, um, I started selling waterproof iPhone cases on Amazon. I bought them in China. I've never touched the product. I slapped the logo on them, and I'm selling them on Amazon. And I did $350,000 last month." I'm like, "What? What? What did you do?" Um, he said, "Yeah, I can show you how." So it was like the proverbial student becomes a teacher,
Yep.
and he literally just taught me how to buy from Alibaba, how to slap my label on it, how to do a little bit of research, and how to get it up on Amazon. And so my first product actually launched in 2014, which was a selfie stick. And so right right time, right product, right platform,
That's right.
and a lot of it was I think the only smart part about what I did was predicting the next trend. And you could just
Right.
see that in 2014, you could just see the selfie
That's
stick
right. Yep.
going like up and to the right.
That's right.
And so it was me and maybe 4 or 5 other selfie stick providers. So pretty quickly, I was up in the 500,000 a month mark. Again,
Amazing. Yeah.
again, it's almost the universal law of
Sure.
truth.
Yep.
Once you hit a certain
Yeah. You
level of
just
revenue,
totally. It's your thermometer. I mean, it's basically like what you believe you're worth in a way, and then you put it up at whatever bar that is, and then you keep coming back. Unfortunately, sometimes that may be a bad thing because you could be doing more than that, right? But so you have to like kind of you know mind fuck yourself, right? To increase that number as well, right? So it's yeah, that's the time. I think 2013 is when I took the amazing selling machine, amazing.com. That's what it's called
ASM.
now, I guess. Yep,
Mhm.
Jason Katzenberg and what's
Matt Clark.
Matt Clark. But Jason is not part of it anymore. Yeah, so I went to China for 2 weeks with 30 G's, and I was like the guy that was making much less than everybody else, right? So it's funny how in parallel you were doing that, I was doing that, and then we met probably did you had a software as well, right? Weren't
Mhm.
you part of a software? And that's
Yeah.
that's the first time that I saw your name, right?
Yeah, I did. Again, it was just me doing a 500,000 a month with 2 products. I had ventured into kind of the invisible pet fence category too. And I started telling my friends how I was doing it. They asked me, I wish I could say that looking back on my career, it was with a lot more intention. I'd feel a lot smarter, but it wasn't. It was just me kind of following my gut instinct and moving forward in the direction I thought would be successful. And
Amazing.
people started asking, "How are you doing this? It doesn't make any sense. You're one dude doing a 500,000 a month. What's going on?" So I helped a few friends. They said, "You've got to teach this on a larger scale."
That's right.
And I said, "Absolutely. I'm never not of an abundance mindset. Like I'm going to give away as much as I can." And I started in 2014 a Facebook group. They were pretty new in 2014,
Yep.
right? And so I started a Facebook group mostly because I was a lonely nerd behind my laptop, living in the middle of a frigid Chicago winter. I had my beard down to here, no shirt, like I hadn't showered in 2 weeks, typing my fingers to nubs. And I said, "Dude, I'm going to start this. I'm going to start this Facebook group and try to make a friend." Uh, and so I started hosting webinars, also in I believe, early 2015. And those webinars, I didn't realize you could sell stuff. I wasn't trying to. I was just trying to make friends, literally,
Right.
and leverage the new technology that was Facebook groups. I hosted probably 30, 40, 50 before I realized, oh, this is a good platform. But in doing so, I built a really following audience. One of my early mentors was Frank Kern.
Of course,
And,
Frank. Yeah.
Frankie, right? And
Right.
he always had this saying that I thought was just brilliant. And he said, all you have to do is outcool the competition. And by outcool them, he means provide more value up front, get RIA, results in advance.
That's
So I
right.
would give so much information away, not thinking I'm trying to sell anybody anything, that my audience started to ask me for a course. And I was like, listen, I'm already teaching all this. Why do you want a course? They're like, we want it all together in one place. I was like, that's what YouTube is for. It's all there. Go check it out. They're like, no, we want a course. So I had my entire audience. I think I had like 28,000 people in my Facebook group.
Sheesh.
I put out a poll, and this is when Facebook groups had engagement. I said, what should I charge for my upcoming course? 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, right? And I think it was an overwhelming response of them said, you should charge $2,000 for this course and I will pay for that course. Right. So I
Yep.
had close to a 20% response rate on that.
Wow.
So 6,000 people saying, yes, I want a $2,000 course. If you do
1.2
that,
mil,
that's
baby.
1.8. And so for me, I was like, oh, there is a whole other world in just education and building things. So I put the course out, kind of a horror story, and sorry for all this background
No,
gibber.
it's all good. I love it.
The day before I was going to, and I won't name names, but the day before I was going to put the course out, another very large community leader in the Amazon space who I had no idea of, didn't know him, didn't know his space, didn't know his audience, came out and started just talking a ton of trash about me the day before. And I was doing a
Wow.
big build up to my product launch, right?
Right.
Ton of trash. I mean, he wrote 7 paragraphs about how I was a scammer, a fraud, a trickster. Don't give me any money. He doesn't know what he's doing. La la la. So whereas literally thinking I would wake up the next day to 1.8 million, and it's only from the people that said yes, I will pay that, not including all the additional
That's right.
marketing I had done
That's right.
behind that. Probably looking at a $2.5 to $5 million day.
Yep.
um, I turned around and I went through the whole course and I went through the whole launch and I did a Jeff Walker sideways sales letter with 4 awesome videos and lots of strategy behind it. Uh, and I turned around and sold it for $2.
No way.
Yeah, because this motherfucker came out, pardon my French, and said all this trash. And I was like, listen, this isn't about the money. I've been making money for a long time. This is about my reputation. Right? And it went viral. I mean, I couldn't have planned a better strategy. It went so viral. It went beyond anything I thought it would do. And I had tribes in Africa making me videos crying, "Thank you, you saved our village. You saved our village." You know, and
Oh my
I was
god.
like, "This is great." Like I
So how
felt
many
like
did you end up selling?
I think right now I'm at 25,000 copies of that course.
Okay.
And we've since updated it to 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's become a legacy course. So that was really great, and that kind of got us, my partner and I at the time, got us into the spotlight. And since then, I've been very fortunate to be flown around the world speaking about Amazon. I've hosted lots of webinars. I've been on
Yep.
a bunch of podcasts. And it's just something that I became, very familiar with and very obsessed with. And, thank you, Uncle Bezos, because he's created something that is still, even in a soft economy, in a wonky economy, is still going up and to the right. We just got the Q3 earnings reports, and Amazon is still growing, whereas all the other tech titans are just
Sure.
nosediving.
Right.
So again, it was a case of right time, right place, right product. Um,
So so now we're at Canopy, right? So Canopy management, right? So
right.
talk a little bit about that because that's kind of like,
Yep.
I remember I don't even know how we connected, but basically I think you had to qualify or something like that to become for you guys to take us on. And at the time, I had one of my brands was, as you know, Poop Like a Champion, highest
Best name
fiber
ever.
cereal in the world.
And
And
it works. Let me tell you, it works.
yeah, it's good, right? Well, I've sold it since, right? But anyway, so tell us again about Canopy and where it kind of started and
Yeah.
where it is now, and what you foresee it the
Yeah.
place
Yeah. Well,
should go.
like I said, right time, right place, right platform. And
Yep.
because we had put out that course that was doing so well, we had brands, huge brands, following us around, asking us to represent them. So Valvoline, Sharper Image, Discovery Channel. We worked with Tim Ferriss. Like we've been, out there, and
Have you met Tim? Because he's in Austin as well, right?
he is an Austin guy, but he's a bit of a recluse.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I've never actually met Tim in person, but I
You
know
know,
a lot of.
I built a school with him in Vietnam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 4-hour work week. So if you actually get the second edition onwards, I'm in the back, and we put a bunch of money together and we built a school in Vietnam. I mean, I didn't build it, but I donated money, right?
That's incredible, Mario. That's why I always say, Mario, you're the most interesting man in the world. Um,
Oh, come
but
on.
yeah, it was a lot of fun being pursued by these larger brands,
Sure.
and I kind of did the same thing. I said that I did in 2008 to 2013. I said I'm going to try to ask them to pay an ungodly amount because
Yep.
I had again trauma from Penguin 2.1 and another
Sure.
agency.
Sure.
I didn't want to launch another agency. I said, so listen, if I'm going to do this, I need at least 6 figures a month. And I quoted them at that, and many of them paid it. So out of the gate with Canopy, we were doing very, very well and very, very profitable. We quickly realized that you have to deliver on your promises.
Sure.
And we, I'll be really honest, we were not in the beginning in 2018. We didn't know how to deliver. We knew how to
Right.
sell on Amazon. We didn't know how to manage giant brands on Amazon.
Sure.
And so that became a real struggle. So I said, there's one of two things I could do here. I can either double down and start recording and repeating my processes, or I can just not do this business. And I said, no, I'm already in it, in for a penny, in for a pound. So we started getting very fastidious about recording all of our SOPs, making sure that the SOPs were understood. I had to learn scaling. I had to learn how to hire. I mean, it effectively took me from an entrepreneur or a solopreneur
To CEO.
to a CEO.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was also in Russell Brunson's inner circle. And the thing about it is, it's 100 of the world's best marketers all in the
Sure.
same room
Let's
learning
talk
together.
about that as well because I'm super interested about that. But continue your story.
Yeah, I got up on stage and a bunch of direct response marketers in the room, and I told them they all basically suck. And in order to make any real money and have an asset that you've built that is exitable, you have to go from a marketer to a CEO. Now, this is a room full of marketers. And I kind of laid out what the hard part about becoming a CEO would be and was for me.
Sure.
And it went over like a fart in church. Nobody listened. It was crickets in the room. I had one or two people come up to me and thank me for giving this hour-long conversation about how to go from a marketer to a CEO. And one of them became one of my still standing lifelong best friends, Alex Hormozy.
Amazing.
And
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, and the other one was Brandon Poulin, who is behind Lady Boss.
Right.
And Lady Boss was doing 5 million a month, I think, at their height. And we all came from the same place, which was Russell Brunson's inner circle.
Amazing.
Hmm.
That's great. And so, where is the Canopy at right now? How many employees do you have? And
Yeah,
what's the plan?
yeah, that's good. So it I'm at the point now where I've learned org charts and I obsess about the org charts and hiring and whatnot. And so any given day that number varies, but we're over 100 people on our tribe. We call it the tribe now. And it's tremendous. We've got 220 plus marketplaces. Inc. just named us twice in a row the fastest growing brand management agency in the world. We're on the Inc.
Awesome.
500. It's been a
Congratulations.
really, really good ride.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
it's been good. It's been great.
And plans for the future for Canopy?
Right now we are a full end-to-end, nose to tail, A to Z Amazon and Walmart management platform.
Okay.
Right. So we work best when brands say, here's my Amazon account. Let me go focus on the $1 million an hour jobs, like finding the next product
Sure.
that's a home run or
Right.
developing the brand in ways that, can't happen if I'm managing the entire Amazon and Walmart space.
Right.
And that's where we work best. That's where we're tremendous. We average an
Sure.
84% profit growth year over year. I'm back through my
Wow.
entire book of business. And
Great.
you've known
Crazy.
that. You've seen it, Mario,
Yeah. Yeah. I have.
firsthand.
Absolutely. Well, it was crazy. I mean, the growth we achieved with you guys was spectacular, right? So, tell me a little bit about Amazon and where it's at right now. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people, they're asking me, "Hey, man, I know you did FBA and FBM and all this, and should I start on Amazon?" And personally, I was like, "Man, I mean, it was a struggle. It was a hustle. I worked my ass off. So personally, unless somebody gave me like a real winner, brand protected, it's mine, and I had, I don't know, 10 mil in inventory, I wouldn't touch it, right? So
Yeah.
tell me what's the latest with Amazon. How are people, how are people doing, and more
Yeah.
importantly, can a little guy enter Amazon right now?
I would say yes. I would say
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
The what so at Canopy we do basically two functions. One is brand launch, right? You're a brand that wants to get started on Amazon. The other one is brand management. You're already on Amazon and Walmart. You need somebody to take over and take you to the nth level.
Yep.
Most of what we do is, or in the past, most of what we've done is brand management. We are seeing a massive rush now of brand launches,
Oh, wow.
of brands that want to get on Amazon. And so we have some minimum requirements for brands that want to get on Amazon. You've got to have at least about 5,000 a month in ad spend minimum.
Hmm.
We've got fees on top of that. Luckily, we charge on a performance basis, so
Sure.
when when they grow, we grow. So we're not hyper expensive, but we're seeing this a real rush of people trying to launch on Amazon now. We've done a few things that have been successful in terms of trying the little guy trying to get started on Amazon. And by little, I mean you've got at least 5,000 a month to spend on advertising. That doesn't include your cost of goods sold, doesn't include your shipping, right? Doesn't include Amazon FBA fees. So
Sure.
really, you're going to have to have it. I would say at minimum $10,000 to $15,000 to get launched. And if you're telling me that you want to sell a silicone spatula with $10,000 to $15,000, you're going to come up against a wall, right? So, what we've done is we've gotten very good at doing growth market analysis, right? So, before we'll even take on a partner in a brand launch specific category, we need to understand the market. And so, we built very proprietary technology that will analyze each market, each category in Amazon, and give us a very nice breakdown. And on top of that, I've got a team of analysts that will actually look at it.
Hmm.
So a couple of things have to happen in order for us to take on the brand because we're on a performance basis. Basically, Canopy doesn't make money unless the client, now we call them partners,
Yep.
makes money. But you've got to have some foresight. And it's really wild to me being a lifelong entrepreneur that just happens to stumble into the right categories that most people start from the other direction. If you're familiar with Ryan Levesque, he wrote a book called Ask.
Hmm.
This book is brilliant, and it's the way everybody that's looking to start a business on Amazon, off Amazon, should approach the market. You fucking ask first, right? A lot of people go, I have a great idea for a headrest on a chair. It's going to be the world's best headrest. Everyone's going to love it. Well, did you ask the audience, dummy? Come on,
That's right.
right? Like,
Yep.
ask the audience if they actually want that first.
That's right.
And so the same basic business philosophy applies to launching a brand on Amazon, which is you need to do a growth market analysis and understand whether or not there's room and space in that category for you.
That's
So
right.
what we found recently is, we took on a very cool company. It's a pet gut biome testing company. We
Wow.
took on we just took on it's a brand launch. We just took on another one that is a caffeinated energy bar company. We're taking on a third. What they really are doing is they're creating categories. A
That's
third
right.
is a nootropic coffee.
Hmm.
These are all within the past week, and that's the biggest, I would say, kind of category creating brand launch cluster
Right.
we've taken on. And the reason we took them on is because one, they're trying to define a new category. So that means you have to actually steal market share. First educate, then steal, right? Ethically steal market share.
Yep.
And two, you've got to have a brand. Like back in 2014, when you slap a
Yeah.
label on a,
Absolutely. It didn't matter, right?
didn't matter. It was just the golden era. You could
That's right.
be making 500,000 a month because you slapped
Yep.
your little logo on a selfie stick.
That's
But
right.
today, what really matters is it's a full funnel approach, right? You've got to have a holistic approach to building a brand. And I
That's
know
right.
this sounds trite, but that is the nature of business, right?
Right.
Amazon is no longer the walled garden it used to be. You've got to have brand awareness in order to be successful on Amazon. So
Totally.
we've seen, in these past three brands that we took on last week that are brand launches in quote unquote new categories. They all have huge TikTok followings or YouTube following, right? Or
That's
they have
right.
a podcast, and that was the reason that we felt we could be successful, right? When you
Sure.
develop strategies to drive external traffic to Amazon, to your product detail page or PDP, that's when you actually start to see success, right?
Right.
Amazon's algorithm, called the A9 algorithm, really does internally reward brands that drive traffic externally to their own product detail pages and storefront.
Right.
So that is the new way, I should say the old new way of the world
Sure.
is actually building a brand.
Amazing, man. That's really like good for you. It's incredible to watch you grow that company. I mean, it was really fun being part of that company, and it was especially the reporting. Reporting, you guys nailed, man. And it was like so much fun to have the reporting. Pull it up every day, and it was really really cool. I want to talk a little bit about mentorship. I mean, a lot
Mhm.
of people ask me about, what is the one thing that you would recommend for, let's say, a CEO or even just an entrepreneur, and I always tell them, join a mastermind, man. Whatever you can afford, and
Yeah.
it's so important to be around winners. And I know when I was part of the Perry Marshall mastermind, man, I grew like crazy. I really should look at that again. But are you part of any right now? And if not, can you recommend some of them?
So I agree with you 100%, right? Proximity is power. And when you're around people that are doing what you want to do or people that have already done what you're trying to do, you can compress time, right? So that's
That's right.
become a core philosophy for me when I'm learning a new strategy is I don't look at, oh gosh, here's this huge mountain I have to climb. I look at people that have built the forklift to the top of the mountain. And
That's right.
how do I get on that forklift, right? Because
Yep.
it takes your learning curve or the time you're going to invest from 5 years to 5 months.
That's
So
right.
that's my entire philosophy now is how do I compress time? And I agree with you. One of the best ways to do it, if there is, a silver bullet, is through mentorship, masterminds. And there's maybe one other strategy that I could recommend, which is a book, a good old fashioned book
Sure.
could certainly be your way to the top. I was a part of Russell Brunson's inner circle. I was one of the founding members of that. That's where I met all the OGs now: Alex Hormozy, Brandon Poulin, Allison Prince, who's a partner of mine, and we all became like a family. I'm here in Austin, Texas, half the year. The other half of the year, I'm in the Virgin Islands.
That's right. I
But
saw that. Amazing, man.
yeah, oh man, well, I just love the beach, and tax breaks are beautiful there. Why not? But, it's like getting paid to live at the beach. But,
I know what
long
you mean.
story short, here in Austin, you've got, The War Room with Ryan Dice. That's a tremendous one. But I found actually these larger masterminds, right? They start to get big. It
Right.
is a business, right,
That's right.
after all. And that's a good thing because of the connections that you can make and the camaraderie of all these people when they're larger, when they're a couple hundred people. Awesome.
Right.
But if you're
Sure.
really looking for personal growth, in your brand, I mean, if it's a service or if it's a product or if it's whatever in your business, I found that a lot more targeted, smaller groups work. So the niches are in the, or the riches are in the niches. So I found more targeted masterminds that were for agency owners doing 10 million plus, for
Sure.
example, right?
Right.
Whatever category you're in,
Right.
my suggestion would be to try to find masterminds. And if they don't exist, one of the best ways to do it is just to go to meetups in your area,
Right.
right? There's going to be smaller meetups,
Hmm.
but most categories have masterminds. And so I found a couple of agency specific masterminds that were really, really great. It allowed me to do a number of things. One of them was acquire other agencies.
Hmm.
So we've acquired 3 other agencies,
Oh,
2
wow.
softwares, and that's a real time compressor right there.
Sure.
Um, Acquisition is a great way to solve all business problems. I firmly believe that.
Right.
Right. And yeah, I think they're definitely advantageous. You've just got to commit to finding the right one, and it's a lot like dating. You go and check it out a little bit, right? And you don't fully commit because the good ones can sometimes be north of 6 figures a year.
Sure. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
War Room, Russell Brunson's Inner Circle, the Genius Network with Joe Polish. Those are all tremendous, tremendous masterminds that,
Yep.
one day or one little golden nugget you could take away from them will
Oh, it's
change the
incredible, right?
trajectory.
It's incredible. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I agree with you. So you're living. How long have you been in Austin now? Is it 6 years?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Good memory.
so, so what's going on in Austin, man? I mean, like it's going off, right? Like, you got. Did you go to the mothership yet?
I've been to Joe Rogan's mothership. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big live music and comedy fan.
Cool.
You know this about me. I'm a pretty lighthearted kind of guy. I think fun is a great delivery vehicle for education. And yeah, ask yourself, when was the last time you learned something and did really well with it and you weren't having fun? Right? Catholic school? I don't know.
Totally agree with you, man. Totally agree with you. Yeah, it's crazy. It's amazing. So do you see like Austin growing even more, or is it kind of topped
it's
up?
it's exploded. Yeah, it's still exploding. We now have more, technically more tech dollars than Silicon Valley.
Wow.
So unfortunately, there's been a huge decline in San Francisco.
Sure.
Taxes, a lot of other, homelessness issues and whatnot.
Sure.
Um, So we've got Tesla out here. Google just built one of the most beautiful sky rises. I could see it from my office here. You've got Oracle, IBM, Dell. All of these tech
Mm.
giants
Sure.
have really come out here. Apple is building a big campus here as well,
Amazing.
and it's just a good place to be if you're in the digital space. And who's not?
Yep.
It's a really fantastic place to be. So masterminds are literally happening every day, or meetups, or people you can go introduce yourself to.
Crazy.
Um, it's been a really, really great place to be. And the people are cool and friendly and approachable, and nobody's got an ego. And you'll be sitting next to a billionaire and having a old fashioned with somebody, and you
Sure.
won't even know who
Yep.
he is until you say goodbye, and oh, my name is so and so.
Crazy.
It's Elon is out here. I've seen him a couple times. It's a really solid place. That said, don't move here if you're listening. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Cool, man. Well, look, it's amazing what you've done, and it's your story is inspiring, and we could probably talk for hours. But my last question is the following:
Hmm.
if you were in my shoes and you would ask yourself one question that I didn't ask, what would that be?
Wow. Probably that question, but because that's a great question. I think you get the proverbial kind of, if you had to start all over, what would you do
Hmm.
question.
Cool.
And having seen the peaks and valleys of entrepreneurialism, I think it's always a great question, right? I
Sure.
love hearing. I actually just watched a video of Tony Robbins talking about that, uh, and for me, it's invest in yourself, right? Go to the masterminds, invest in your network, because your network is your net worth.
Hmm.
Knowing great people like you, Mario, has been really advantageous for my business on all levels, and you can never have a big enough network,
That's
right?
very true.
So investing in yourself, learning the skills, putting those skills together, it does become this kind of magnetic polarity where once you do hit a certain revenue in any business,
Hmm.
even if you switch to a new business, right, you're still somehow going to magnetically attract yourself to that revenue level and beyond.
That's right.
And so it's like setting the high bar every single time. If it's like being a pole vaulter,
Right.
you can always get over that hurdle. You just need the hurdle, and higher
Yep.
and higher and higher. So it's a little, bland, but it is the most accurate statement I've ever heard.
Right.
And so investing in yourself has always been where I put my dollars.
Absolutely. That's awesome, man. Well, hey, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy guy, and hopefully I'll see you soon. I'm due out to Texas. I haven't been there in probably 10 years, man. Like, wow, it's crazy. But yeah, I would love to meet up and see you again, and maybe even shoot down to the Caribbean and borrow your boat because I know you
Brother,
got one.
anytime, anywhere, I would love to see you.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. I really appreciate it.
Of course, Mario. Thanks so much.